If you don't know who I am, then I'm gonna go ahead and assume that you haven't seen my hot glue gun videos 1 or 2. Now you're welcome to check those out, but I'm just gonna skip any preamble and get right into it. I just built a brand new hot glue gun. This one can shoot close to 80 sticks of hot glue within a matter of seconds. In this video, we're gonna take a look at how it's built, how it works, and we're also gonna try and glue some crazy crap to the side of my car. Welcome to Joel Creates. A hot glue gun needs 3 basic things to work: heat, glue, and pressure. Now, your basic run-of-the-mill hot glue gun converts the electricity from an outlet into heat, and then uses a mechanical trigger to push a hot glue stick through the heated tip. A traditional hot glue gun is limited by the tiny amount of heat and pressure that it generates. By the time you're heating up your second glue stick, your first one's already cooled off. So gluing big stuff is just out of the question. The tiny amount of pressure also limits the distance at which a hot glue gun can be used. Even applying pressures closer to 100 psi just isn't enough to fire the glue at any real distance. So for this hot glue gun, I needed as much heat, glue, and pressure as possible. 2 large 12-volt batteries provide tons of electricity that can rapidly be converted into heat. A large CO2 tank provides around 800 psi of raw pushing power. And lots of glue? Well, let's just say eventually I stopped buying the bags and just went for bulk. In order to keep this portable, I figured that a custom backpack was the smartest way to carry the heavier batteries and CO2 tank. This was built primarily out of wood and foam board. Something that really surprised me with this new design was just how much further the glue actually went when it was shot out of the gun. With my previous design, I was getting maybe 15 feet, but this bad boy was able to shoot 30 feet. I think this is because the long stream of glue is able to kind of push itself further along than a short one. This thing is just ridiculous. I mean, think about it. Because it can deliver so much hot glue all at once, it breaks all existing rules about just what a hot glue gun can be used for. Could you frame a house with hot glue instead of nails? What about gluing 2 cars together? Could you glue your shoes to the ceiling? Would it hold your weight? Can you reattach the 1,000 shattered pieces of your broken heart? These are the kind of questions that a serious hot glue gunner has to think about as they lie awake, night after hot, sticky night! Sorry, got a little sidetracked. Let me wrap up the last few details about how I built this thing, and then I'll show you the unspeakable things that I did with it to my car. The power switch activates the system, and then it turns on some black lights that make the orange acrylic plastic that I used really glow. I called it the stickler because, well, you know what, I'll let you figure that one out. The acrylic was engraved on my CNC machine, and it has a temperature controller and relay mounted to it. These plates then mount to the gun, which is made of aluminum framing and pipe fittings. So what actually holds the glue? Well, for that I needed a giant pressure chamber, capable of not only holding lots of glue, but also containing 800 psi of pressure and at least 250 degrees Fahrenheit of heat. That's why the pressure chamber itself is actually an old CO2 tank, made of steel. I painted it with high temperature paint and then wrapped it with heating wire, then foil, then insulation, then more foil. The final step was to wrap it with silicone tape and then drill a hole in the bottom for the nozzle. Now, whenever you heat metal, it actually gets weaker, meaning that this pressure chamber could potentially burst. That's why I built a blast shield out of thick polycarbonate to help protect me from a potential blast. The pressure chamber is connected to a 3-way valve that acts like the trigger. When the valve is in the firing position, CO2 flows from the tank into the pressure chamber. When the valve is off, the pressure chamber is connected to a purge pipe in order to release the excess pressure and stop glue from dribbling out of the front. It kind of works. The backpack connects to the gun via some coiled wire and tubing, and can be disconnected for convenience. Alright, back to the question at hand. If you had this hot glue gun, what would you do with it? Seriously, Anakin, what would you do with it?
I would fix my relationship with Padme.
Okay, everybody else, what would you do with a hot glue gun like this? Put your answer in the comments below. Now, as for me, it's time to play. Let's glue random pieces of crap to my crappy car. The first thing we're gonna glue to the car is this crappy tire. The tire was a fun idea, and it looked kind of cool on the side of my car, but ta-da!
12 seconds later.
Well, a tire was a crappy candidate because there's not a lot of surface area anyway. As you can see, it really only made contact here, and there. Next, I tried a 55-pound Anvil. Here we go. Oh, this is gonna be fun to hold up. Should've worn gloves. I genuinely just burned my hand.
That's hot.
Probably have first-degree burns. Not too bad. Well, I probably won't put that in the video because I don't want people to realize what an idiot I am. It's probably too late for that. Do you know why I pulled you over? No idea, officer. After reloading the gun, I tried to glue a toilet to the side of my car. I accidentally forgot to turn the CO2 back on, so it was only working with the residual pressure left in the gun. I propped up the toilet with a tire and then turned on the CO2 and added some more glue this time. And the results were nothing short of amazing. Ta-da! After assembling the rest of the toilet, and considering the existential ramifications of what I had just accomplished, I realized that it was starting to come loose. It's pulling off. It's pulling off. Okay. All right. Removing the anvil was a totally different story, and I think that's because it had much better surface area contact with the car. It easily held the weight of the wheel, and my sister.
Could I stand on it?
You want to try?
Yeah.
It's really dangerous.
That's okay, I'll hold on to the top.
Okay. I really shouldn't be surprised that she would volunteer to do something like this, especially considering that she was brave enough to help me make that video a couple months ago where she played Alien Isolation in VR.
Do you want a hug?
If it even needed to be said, please don't try this at home.
Woo!
Despite having developed quite a connection to my new door ornament, the risk of it falling off and hitting a car on the highway was a little too high, so it got the old torch and kick treatment, which was pretty effective. Ugh. My car is now even more disgusting and confusing to look at than it was before. And that brings us to today's video sponsor. Today's video is sponsored by My Broke Ass. Now, I got a ton of comments on my last glue gun video, and I really appreciate everyone who took the time to say something. A fair amount of you actually requested something just like this. So let me know what you'd like to see in the future, and I'll consider it. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.